Hello, everybody. Welcome to Empower Hour. Thank you for coming on. We are excited to have you, and we're also really excited to share just this hour or so or less, whatever it is, whatever God decides, just together with everyone here. Thank you so much for just taking the time to come out and join. So to kick us off, I'm going to pick someone to pray. Oh, man, Yasi, you didn't get the chance last time. So maybe it's your chance this time. Yasu, can you pray?
Yeah. Can you hear?
Thank you.
Okay, just so you can hear. Please join me in prayer, everyone. Our dear most beloved Heavenly Parent, most precious true parents, absolute good spirits from the spirit world, good evening. We are gathered here across the nation as young leaders for this Empower Hour. And Heavenly Parent, what's a great way to start this week, this Monday evening, just to be able to see each other, greet each other, and to feel inspired, knowing that you are working in this country, within our movement, within each other. And so, Heavenly Parent, I pray that we just want to invite you into our hearts and into our minds, and to be able to receive the guidance and the message that you want to give to us. And I just pray that we can have a great time all together. And I want to offer up this prayer in my name. Estakaoza, son of HyoJeong Promise, blessed your family. Aju.
Aju. Thank you, Yasu. Pastor Yasu. Wow. Look at all the beautiful faces. Okay, so we're going to start off with a hindake that's been graciously prepared by our older brother, Ginny. So I'll pass it over to him.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
See you. All right. So today's hindake is going to be something that I think a lot of us got to hear in person because we were there in New Jersey. How about, you want to raise your hands if you were there? Yeah. All right, great. So, yes, so a clergy rally for a heavenly unified world. I think it was actually even longer. Clergy rally, the hope for a unified world or something like that. So for today's hindake, yeah, we don't have time to go through the whole speech, but I've chosen a few excerpts, and they were quotes from the speech and moments, live of the speech that touched me, or else that upon reflection I really found meaningful. Some of them are certain things that I heard Mother say that I don't think I've heard her mention so many other times. But anyways, this is just what touched me from this speech. Okay. God planned to annihilate the towns of Sodom and Gomorrah. However, Abraham pleaded with God, if there are 50 righteous people, or even just 10 righteous people, can this catastrophe be avoided? God said he would permit that. However, there were not even 10 righteous people. Only Lot's family escaped. The Bible tells us that Lot's wife still had a lingering attachment, so she looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. That's right. God's providence is advancing. It is going forward. This means we should not look back. 2,000 years have passed since Jesus' death on the cross. To this day, Christians believe that they can receive salvation through the blood of Jesus on the cross. How mistaken and incomplete a view this is. Jesus came as the true father of humankind. He came as the true father, so he was to meet the true mother. God chose the Korean people, and in 1943, he sent the only begotten daughter. Words cannot describe the effort God had to make to send the only begotten daughter. The situation in Korea was very tense. Democratic South Korea was not prepared for a fight with North Korea. In this situation, the Korean War broke out in 1950. Heaven carried out his responsibility. How is it that soldiers from 16 UN nations came to shed their blood in a war in Korea, a nation that was largely unknown at the time? How earnestly our Heavenly Parent longed to find and embrace fallen people that he had spent 6,000 long years searching for through his providence. God did not bless America just for its own sake. He blessed America for the sake of the world. True parents knew that God's will was to save the world by raising this nation blessed by heaven. And that is why we invested more than 40 of the golden years of our lives for this country. The youth who came to know of God's will went out as missionaries to the world in 1975. For more than 40 years, they invested in their mission countries. Thanks to their sincere devotion, God could work through righteous, prepared people in Africa to hold the blessing, with the potential for the restoration of the African continent. I want to believe in you. Members of the clergy who have gathered here from all over the world, you are the righteous people, prepared by heaven in this age. What is the mission of righteous people? You should be able to embrace the nation and the world with true love, living for the sake of others instead of living only for yourselves. This is what the true mother, the only begotten daughter, is doing. I am guiding fallen people to become heavenly parents' children through the blessing. Please remember that the founding of the World Clergy Leadership Conference, which will bring your individual foundations into unity, is the way to realize heavenly parents' dream in human in the short time. I pray that you will all become the righteous people and religious leaders standing in the vanguard, and that you will not look back, but run forward. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 3 weeks since Mother spoke these words in New Jersey. And for me, it was interesting looking back and realizing, this is what Mother wanted to share with all of us in America. And one thing, when she talked about Sodom and Gomorrah, it reminded me of something that Reverend Dunkley says often. He says that, our movement every year, almost every month, every week, our movement is not the same as it was a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. And so often we get caught up in the concepts from the past, but God is moving so quickly. We can't let our past concepts hold us back from where God wants to take us. And I think the testimonies tonight are going to show us that God is moving very quickly in profound ways. So we have to be ready, to meet Him halfway. And there's just so many amazing things Mother shared. And anyways, I wanted to share this speech because I think it's important to really always come back to Mother's words and find her, her message for each of us. And just like these, Mother talked about the missionaries from 1975. I feel like Mother wants the youth to inherit that same kind of missionary spirit. Whether, we don't have to go overseas, we don't have to, same kind of conditions aren't required, but the same heart ready to invest our sincere devotion. Yes, so I hope you could gain something from the speech and also feel inspired to go back. It's online at familyfed.org. You can find the whole text. So just a couple announcements. If you've been here the past few weeks, these are the same announcements. The Korea pilgrimage, we got 1 more week to sign up. So if you're going to Korea, I'll see you there. And if you are interested, the 24 plus is coming up in April. I will not see you there, but I know it's going to be awesome. So if you're interested, check that out. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. Thank you every week for putting together the Hindake and sharing your insights. One of the things that really stood out to me, at least, was when Mother's talking about not looking back. I had a chance today to sit down with a first generation couple, and they were telling me they're just like their experiences with prayer and how powerful it was. And I could feel like a struggle in my heart where it was just like, I have these concepts about what is to what level can prayer work, or to what level does unity with your mother actually bring about miracles, and these concepts kind of get in the way. And he was talking to me and he was saying, it's you really got to break those concepts down. Trust me, if you pray, answers will come, or if you really rush forward, then those things, you'll find those things will come to you. And I was just I felt really tested, but after reading some Hinduke today, I was like, dang, like that's really it. Like we have to have the mentality of, when Mother's saying like this kind of past mentality, or like the early church, it's like they put everything down on the line so that they could get us to this place now. And it's on that foundation and that tradition that we stand on. And that was shown, first of all, by our true parents, which is incredibly special and powerful. So luckily, we, as young leaders, we're all leaders, so many people have been rushing forward for the providence and responding to this like call of True Mother desperately asking us to become and take ownership over Choneoguk. And we have 2 testimonies tonight of 2 people that are doing really amazing things, and they're representing organizations or groups that are also doing incredible work in their locations. And the first is Josue from Grand Rapids CARP and from Michigan. He's the pastor there. And we have another Harumi Muranaka, and she's from Los Angeles, and she's part of the YCLC chapter. They're there. And so to kick us off is an incredible brother. Josue is amazing, man. And if anyone hears him speak, it's like you're really speaking to the Holy Spirit. And so, yeah, let's all put our hands together. If we can unmute ourselves and give Josue Kisile a round of applause.
Oh, okay.
Take
All
it
right.
away, man. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. Good evening, everyone. A lot of love here. I want to share a little bit about our 3 days workshop that we had last weekend. So it was a carp workshop, and the theme this time was becoming a global citizen, and we used the 3 HyoJeong Promises as the teaching material. So most of our guests came to the Chicago event where we publicly invited the guests to say the promise with us. So I think it wasn't so clear what it was at the time. So we decided that this was a good opportunity for us to introduce this pledge to them, that they can all understand what it's all about, but also that they can begin to implement and live according to these promises. But making that decision wasn't easy, because we are talking about a relationship with God. We are talking about purity. We're talking about marriage, and if you're in college, or you have been in college, you know that these are not easy topics for college students. But then we decided to go for it, and I was one of the lecturers, and Uncle Jerry Servito was the other lecturer. We had a talk, and we agreed that if we are really going to touch the hearts of the guests, we have to speak about these promises very honestly, and we have to be inspired by them ourselves. So we prayed a lot about it, and we prepared this presentation with that kind of heart. But it was scary for me, because I was talking about the second promise. I was talking about sexual purity. I was talking about marriage. So these are not easy topics. So I was praying to God and asking, what kind of tone do I want to use, or how do I want to convey these 2 promises. So, but one thing we learned is that because we were so honest, open, and sincere, excited about this, actually the participants said they had a very good experience. Some of them were coming back for the second or third time, but they said, this is my best experience at the CARP retreat. Even those members of the second generation who attended, they say, oh, this is one of my best retreats. So it was really profound experience for us. And what we learned is that when we allow ourselves to be the instrument of God and allow just God to speak through us and not try to stand in the way of the work of God, we realize that God can work miracles. So we have 25 participants all together, and 8 of them were guests, actually new people. And what was remarkable to me was that some of the guests were not prepared. They decided to come on last day because they heard a friend was attending, or they were just told on the day of the retreat itself. And it was so remarkable that these people ended up actually having a great time. It felt to me like God was actually working through this workshop. We had one brother who came to this workshop as an agnostic. So he so to speak, in a way, he didn't believe in the existence of God. And so after the workshop, he gave a very strong testimony. He said what he has learned a lot about God. He has questioned. He has asked a lot of questions, but he has never been presented with the idea of God as a parent who loves and cares for him. And he has never been presented by that idea, and that's truly moved his heart. That God is his parent, and God loves him, and that we are brothers and sisters in that way. So he said it actually makes sense that people worship God, because he never understood why people would worship God, and that made a lot of sense to him. And really that's because Uncle Jerry, as he was presenting this, he was so sincere, and at one point he would shed tears presenting this idea, and it was so personal to him, and he could relate to a lot of things Uncle Jerry was relating about his experience before joining the church. So, and for even for those who believed in God coming in the workshop, they testify that, I've never been presented with the idea of a heavenly parent. I've never understood actually what it means to love the world, because many of them come from a fundamentalist Christian background where it's either the Christian way or no way. So being presented with the idea of a God who loves all people regardless of religion, but also those of us who were there, I think were able to create a good environment where they could see the love, a love that goes beyond religion. And one brother even testify. He say he was able to experience he had a living experience of the love of God at that retreat, and I felt so inspired and moved by that. Although people know God and believe in God, go to church, have a relationship with God, they don't have a true experience of the love of God. And I felt truly God working through this workshop. So anyways. This was a really good experience. We have a story on CARP Life. You can read the full story there. But one thing that I learned personally is that the time is ready that we can harvest the fruit of the works of true parents. Like I felt it is time that we proclaim the words of true parents without holding back, because the spirit world is ready. There are people who are prepared to receive this message, and I also could see that it is time we can expand and speak this word of true parents even beyond Christianity it's time we go even beyond the confines of our own churches and reach out to the world, because people are ready, and more especially young people, they are thirsty, they want to receive. We spoke about sexual purity, and this this is an uncomfortable topic, but many of them are like, oh, these are great ideas, I've never thought about it. I had one guest come to me and say, I would like to have these slides, can you share them with me? Because this is so moving. Many do not think of how our own our choices, or how we practice our sexuality, can affect the world. How building a healthy marriage can help create world peace. Many don't think about that. For them, it's just the coming together of a man and a woman, or whichever form of marriage they believe in. But really, through this workshop, we're able to introduce the heavenly way of marriage and a higher purpose of marriage. And I felt this was a very good experience for me personally, because I had to give the presentation, and for the first time in so many years. And also I had a guest there. She had a good time, and she wants to learn more. She wants to get involved more. So I'm truly grateful. It was a teamwork. I think that's one of our strengths in the Midwest. We work together. All our chapters work together to put together these kind of programs. And I could see that when we are united, God can truly work through our unity. So that's what I had to share with you this evening. Thank you.
If we can all unmute ourselves. Josue. Wow. What the heck? Man. Dang. Thank you, Josue. Thank you so much. Can I get your slides after this? I'm sure he would be willing to send it to anyone. I think a lot of people would actually like to see it, Josue, if it's possible for you to throw it in the chat, or if anyone can just reach out to him afterwards. But man, that is inspiring. Holy crap. Anyway, what caught my mind was what you were talking about, how like we live in this, like it's almost like we're living in a new era, and we're harvesting the foundations and the investment of our true parents, and we're bringing to them this truth that they brought to us. And when we're honest, we're open, we're sincere, we're excited about it, then people are catching it and they're feeling it. And I was just like trying to imagine myself in the room at that time, and just like trying to be a blank slate, like imagine receiving that for the first time. In this day and age, it's like, it seems like this is like ridiculous things that we stand for, like it would be no way, but like people are receiving it. And I've seen that myself, like even in the last 5 years, the amount of reception towards, especially like the sexual integrity and men and women coming together in marriage. It's like people are literally prepared. And I think Josue's testimony speaks to that very, very well. So thank you, Josue. Thank you, Midwest CARP team, and everything that you're doing, and Uncle Jerry as well. It's amazing. So in the same kind of breath, on a different coast in Los Angeles, YCLC kickstarted their first program that they did. To answer Nathan's question, I know it was answered in the chat, but there's currently 2 chapters. There's one on the East Coast, and there's one officially started in LA. And they recently held one of their a prayer breakfast co-hosted together with ACLC. So these YCLC members did it together with ACLC. And this is an incredible sister who's going to share with us her experience with that. She was actually my president at one point in CARP at Cal State Long Beach. She has an incredible heart, and she's very sincere, but has also pushed me very, very hard as well, so I could be here even right now. So I'm incredibly indebted to her, and she's also just an amazing, amazing sister. So let's all unmute ourselves and welcome the great Harumi Muranaka.
Hi, thank you so much. So yes, I'm Harumi, and I'm from LA Family Church, and I just wanted to share a little bit on behalf of the LA community and the YCLC chapter here. And yeah, so starting with the prayer breakfast, this past Saturday, we had this event at Israel Missionary Baptist Church, and yeah, so actually Jermaine Bishop, he's the pastor of LA Family Church, and so he gave the keynote speech for the prayer breakfast. And yeah, so there was a lot of different pastors and clergy from several different churches in LA who attended, and also their family. And so in total, there were about 100 people, and 1/3 of the people that attended were either youth or young adults. So yeah, I heard from Naoko Hiraki that Dr. Kim was especially excited to hear about the prayer breakfast and just how ACLC and YCLC were working together on this, and also to hear about how inspired the pastors were from this event. And yeah, so I just wanted to go through some of the highlights for the prayer breakfast. So yeah, starting with a testimony that was given by Brandon. He is one of the pastors from the City of Refuge. And he also gave a speech during the youth gathering on April 6th last year. So he's one of the YCLC reps, and he shared about his experience in Newark at the YCLC launch. And yeah, so he was sharing about how inspired he was about YCLC and really the potential it has to empower young clergy and just bring all these young leaders together. And yeah, so he was sharing about the event and how the young leaders were able to split off into sub-regions and kind of share about their experiences as pastors and as leaders within their faith community. And he also shared about some realizations he had just about, just the necessity for young leaders in ministry to come together and to support one another, especially because in the conversations they had, a lot of the same challenges that they were facing were about family. And yeah, so he was just saying how a lot of the same issues that we're facing as young leaders is related directly to the mission of ACLC and Family Federation in restoring families through the marriage blessing. And yeah, so he was just really encouraging this initiative of YCLC so that as young leaders, we can equip ourselves with more knowledge and to get moral support from people who are going through the same challenges and fighting for the same goals as ministry leaders. And also to get that sense of hope that of what we can accomplish together. So yeah, I was really inspired by his testimony because it really felt as if he was the John the Baptist figure representing the young generation of clergy in America. And he was testifying about the important work that True Mother is doing, in particular, like bringing young leaders together through YCLC. So I was just really inspired by how inspired he was. And yeah, during this event, he and his fiance received the holy wine through the blessing ceremony at the prayer breakfast for the first time. So yeah, that was really amazing. And the second highlight was the speech given by Jermaine Bishop during the prayer breakfast. So during his speech, he shared some of the goals and strategies of YCLC. And I think the most beautiful part about it was at the end, he was really inviting the elder generation of clergy to impart their knowledge and wisdom to the younger generation that are now rising up. And and I think, just that invitation was really a way for the older generation to like want to really support YCLC. And even the MC, who is an ACLC member, she was, after his speech, she was really supportive and like encouraging the other members to, yeah, just to encourage or support the youth. And yeah, it's just really moving to see how like ACLC was working together with YCLC in this event, and really just feeling, you know, this is what God wants to see right now. And yeah, and also just like realizing that the younger generation has so much to inherit from the older generation, and especially because they've laid such an amazing foundation for the young people to stand on. And yeah, so yeah, so again, the pastors, I think, responded really well. And at the end of at the end of the event, a lot of the pastors exchanged contact information with the YCLC members that were there, and just really expressed that, yeah, they felt that, you know, change was possible through this unity between the elder generation and younger generation. So yeah, and I guess in general, LA, we've experienced, I think, a lot of changes in our community through this unity between the older generation and younger generation. And we've also been hearing a lot more that the churches that we're connected to are also being inspired by that. So for example, the young first and second generation have gone to City of Refuge many times, and we've also had the opportunity to perform muchokon. And so, yeah, so we've kind of called it a muchokon ministry that we started. And I think this dance was just like a way to show how youth were getting more and more involved in our ministry. And I think the involvement of youth is what really inspired the members of City of Refuge. And it actually resulted in them creating this praise dance team for the youth. And I also heard about like one of the security guards working at City of Refuge who started bringing his son to work together with him. And so we can just see that I think this unity is really having an impact in our own community, but also in these other churches. And yeah, I think, yeah, through the prayer breakfast, we can, I think, yeah, for myself personally and for everyone there, we can see so much potential in YCLC and ACLC through this unity. So I guess, yeah, through my experience at this prayer breakfast and also recent experiences, yeah, I guess what hit me most was that we need each other as younger and older generation, and that there's so much potential when we work together. And yes, so yeah, it was a really great event, the first event after the YCLC launch. And I think it really captured this theme of wanting to pass the baton on to the younger generation. And I think that's, yeah, that message was able to resonate with the hearts of the pastors and the clergy that attended there. So yeah, it seems like they're all really inspired and fired up with what the youth is doing. So yeah, it was really great. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share. So thank you again. Thanks for having me.
Let's all unmute ourselves. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Dang, these are some good testimonies tonight. Thank you, Harumi. Thank you to the YCLC chapter out there and for putting in, I'm sure it was not easy to put together that event and making it all happen so that powerful experiences could occur. So yeah, just things that stood out to me was, one is that when we connect with young clergy, they almost become John the Baptist figures to touch all generations. And to see young clergy step up together with our young people, there's like just like hearing how like he had received with his fiance the holy wine. That's actually really incredible to hear. And for some of us here, we know Brandon personally, and he's come a long way since we first started connecting to him. He's the youth pastor for City of Refuge. And I remember one of the first meetings we had with him, it was really like tense. It was such a tense meeting about something. We wanted to do it together. We wanted to do something together and to work together, but it was we walked away from that meeting, all of us feeling that we hadn't really gotten anywhere. And then he went to the WCLC and he attended and saw True Mother and all of that. And then hearing how he's now becoming this advocate together with us is so powerful to hear. And then the second thing what Harumi was saying was that YCLC's mission is in unison with ACLC's mission. They're actually meant to work symbiotically together. They need each other, is what she said. And by needing each other, that means that together they're even more powerful, right? And Mother is desperately looking to see Christianity revive here in America. And you can kind of see that YCLC and ACLC working together in this way, you can see why Bishop Kim was really excited about that, because maybe he can kind of envision the power that can come from the elder and the younger coming together. So yeah, thank you guys for doing that and for pioneering that for the rest of us and for sharing your testimony. Man, thank you, Harumi. That's powerful. Yeah, so those are our two testimonies for tonight. Yeah, thank you to both who offered and shared. It's powerful things happening all over, though. We know that we can't get everyone's testimony, but we're sure that there's powerful things happening across the nation. And there's one thing in particular that's coming up that all of us are in some shape or form involved in, whether we're here in America or I'm seeing that some people are coming in from all over the world now. I saw Peru CIG, so yeah, just from everywhere we're at, we're going to be celebrating the real start of the new year coming on January 25th. And that's, we have Heavenly Parents' birthday, and then we have True Parents' birthday. And Reverend Dunkley and Bishop Kim and True Mother from True Mother directly have asked us to really celebrate that day. And so I'm gonna invite Kayleigh to speak about that a little bit, just to get everybody filled in for what's to come.
Yeah, thank you, Joshua, and thank you for the testimonies. I wanted to add just one more final piece to Harumi's testimony, is that Brandon is actually one of the young clergy who's coming with us to Korea to represent YCLC at the World Summit in Korea. And I have to really thank LA, especially Reverend Tangen and Jermaine, who, you know, it was down to the wire, down to the last minute. I was really telling our YAM team, you guys, we have to deliver. We've been getting a lot of love and attention, but now we need to do something, bring result. I really wanted to bring some young clergy to Korea with us. So Brandon is coming with us to Korea. At first he wasn't sure, and then he said something along the lines of, you know, if this is God's design, then I need to be there. So he really felt something tugging him there, even though it was physically difficult for him to attend. And then we also have Minister Ed Long from Atlanta, who, if you were at the YCLC launch, he was the one in the, you know, the hat, the shirt, really casual. But he's an amazing public speaker. He's so connected. He's, you know, supporting in some way at the Super Bowl in Miami. So he's coming with us, leaving right after the Super Bowl and coming to join us in Korea. So if I'm being real, I'm a little bit nervous. You know, I'm the one who's taking care of them. Joshua is going to support me in some ways, right, Joshua? But needing your prayers and your support to really help these brothers feel connected to what's going on. So I'm excited for that. And thank you for LA for supporting Brandon and bringing him to the place he is now. So what I was asked to share about is this Saturday being Heavenly Parents Day, and probably by now most of you have heard something along the lines of what's happening, but I kind of wanted to share the heart and the background story, and some of you may have heard, but basically on the 27th, at the conclusion of the WCLC launch in New York, Mother called, you know, Dr. Kim and Reverend Dunkley to come sit with her, and she was sharing about her realization of how significant True Parents' birthday is, that we should treat it like we treat Jesus's birthday on Christmas. And that actually, you know, since Christmas, we're not even sure if that's Jesus's birthday. It's just kind of a date that we celebrate and honor, but it's kind of gotten out of whack, as we all know. That her desire is to one day see that between Heavenly Parents' Day and True Parents' Day, that becomes the Holy Week that we really celebrate and do up well, and it becomes the new kind of Christmas feeling. And so now we're being asked to celebrate both of those days, condensing them right into one day to celebrate on the 25th, because we want to build a strong enough foundation before we go to Korea, where we will celebrate True Parents' birthday in Korea. So it's a little bit, you know, maybe some of you are questioning, like, why do we have to do it like this? Or it feels a little bit different. It is different, but it's a good challenge for us to understand that this is a condition that we're making and an offering that we're making to prepare a strong spiritual foundation for what's to happen in Korea, which is the cosmic level foundation of substance, the World Summit. They have thousands of leaders coming together, VIPs, heads of state, former heads of state, and then a few of us stragglers who, I don't know, somehow made it on the list. That those people are coming together to really catch True Parents' vision and see the significance of what True Mother is doing in the world right now and how Father is supporting her spiritually. So we need to do our utmost effort to make, you know, conditions and offerings to help make that as successful as possible. We're not, you know, we can't just assume that it's been accomplished. We can't just assume that everything's going to go perfectly. We have to, up until the end of it, continue our conditions and our offerings so that the important people can catch True Parents' vision, that they can take it to the next level and really bring victory for our True Parents. So, you know, Saturday, we're celebrating at least one in each sub-region, and then hopefully one in each state, a state level celebration. And actually the hope is that we're inviting, you know, our ACLC contacts, and that we're inviting our friends and upping the game a little bit. We tend to kind of keep our celebrations in a bubble, you know, and think that people can't understand the offering table or get up at 7 in the morning or whatever it is. We feel our fear and our challenges in those traditions of our movement, but we want to take it to the next level and even more so ask people to make, you know, their donation for True Parents' birthday. You know, money is a challenging concept in our church. I know we've given so much and our parents have given so much, and there may be some pain associated with that. But I was watching Reverend Dunkley's sermon from this Sunday, and the point that stood out to me, which was really significant, is we often feel like we're doing headquarters a favor, or we're doing the church a favor, or we're doing True Parents a favor by making these donations and conditions and going to these events. But actually, it's God and True Parents who are doing us the favor by allowing us to make this offering. So we have to switch our very American thinking. We have to switch that around and realize that we're being given an opportunity. It's not us who's doing the favor and giving the opportunity. It's a blessing for us to be alive at the time of the second advent, and we have to recognize how important that is. You know, if the Christians, you know, if you talk to a Christian person and you ask them, you know, if they had been alive when Jesus was alive, would they have given everything? Would they have sold their house? Would they have, you know, given every day? Absolutely, without a question, right? But still in Jesus's time, he struggled so much. He was a poor man who suffered so much because people couldn't recognize who he was. So it's our responsibility to protect our True Parents, to guard them with our offerings. And I'm not saying go be a poor person and suffer on the I'm not saying any of that, but I do know that each one of us is faced with some kind of challenge, myself included, about making these offerings. And so we need to challenge it. We need to embrace it. We need to like scrape off the old crotchety stuff that's left on us. We're so young, you guys. Why do we have these these fears and these concepts? But we need to scrape them off and dust ourselves off so we can make these pure offerings. So just want to challenge us and encourage us to embrace it. Bring an offering for True Parents. It's True Parents' birthday. You know, when it's my parents' birthday, I buy them a gift. Or these days, my kids and I make some really cheesy gift for my mom, and they love it. But we bring a gift for those that we love. So let's remember how important that is. It's our True Parents' birthday, who gave birth to all of us. None of us would be alive in here in this moment without them. So let's honor them with whatever we can and whatever offering we can make to support our true parents. So one other resource I wanted to share, and I'll post this in the Young Tribe Facebook group also, but our YAM team brainstormed some creative and fun activities to celebrate Heavenly Parents Day and True Parents Day. And there's some links to like Pinterest pages and things like that with crafts and activities and fun things that you can do and make some kimbap together and celebrate as a community. But you know, we as young people, you know, our elders have the tradition, and they are so consistent, you know, they're gonna do it. They're faithful members. And so now we get to infuse these beautiful traditions with our creativity and our heart of HyoJeong. So please work with your local pastor, and even it might be challenging. I know sometimes in my community it's challenging to bring new ideas to the table because traditions are traditions, but we have to work together. We have to find a way to bring in the generations, like this testimony from Harumi, right, about elders and youngers working together. We have to carry on this tradition, inherit from our elders, and also bring in the new youthful energy and perspective and ideas. So even if it's challenging, let's please work together with our local communities to make celebrations that we can, you know, really feel True Parents' heart, feel God's heart, that we want to carry on to our own children and be excited about bringing them to these kinds of traditions, and make these real holy days, make them as important as Christmas, as important as Thanksgiving. Let's do it up, go all out. I know my family, we're planning to end Heavenly Parents Day by going out to a Chinese food buffet because it's the lunar, you know, New Year. It's traditionally known as Chinese New Year. That's been a tradition we've been doing the last few years, and it's our thing, you know. Let's build these traditions, build beauty and fun traditions to really celebrate these holy days. So I'll make sure I post this in the Young Tribe Facebook group, but let's have a great celebration this weekend and really build a strong foundation for the World Summit in Korea in just 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee. I did want to add another resource. I highly suggest, if you want to connect to this more, go to the FCNYC, the Family Church of New York City webpage, and watch Reverend Damien's message, his past sermon. He gives this sermon, it's basically on this. Particularly, he's talking about like why we need to testify to True Mother, but the action step he gives is very specifically on what we can do for Heavenly Parents and True Parents birthday celebration. And he gives actually like 3 pieces. He says that one is the offer a gift, you know, prepare a gift. Then the first and the third one are, one is show up 30 minutes early to the celebration. So if you want to do that. And then second and third, the last one is to fellowship with the Christian people that show up and make them feel comfortable and part of the family. So yeah, I highly suggest going there if you have the time. Yeah, wow, thank you. Let's do it. Let's celebrate. Let's have a good time and make Heavenly Parents, True Parents' birthday something that's celebrated for years to come in the way that it should. So thank you, Kaylee, and thank you, everybody. So that's the end of our call. We're ending a little bit early today. So as I'm gonna try to make tradition, when we end this call, you can go straight into just taking some time for yourself and God. And if something struck you in this call at all, when you're catching on to the pulse of the providence that's happening in other places, or a lesson that you need to bring and you need to translate into your life, don't lose those things. Take a moment with God right after the call. Just take 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and just make sure you can digest that so that we're walking away from these Empower Hours genuinely empowered and ready to move forward. So yeah, with that, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to close this in a prayer, and then we'll end. Please join me in prayer. Dear God, thank you so much for gathering us, protecting us, preparing us, strengthening us, giving us all the inspiration and direction that we honestly need. God, we have volumes on volumes of Hundoke to read. We have elders to guide us and teach us the tradition and tell us their testimonies and their experiences their firsthand accounts of true parents' great works, and as well as their own personal investments and Jeongsung and all of this, God, we receive as this new generation of leadership that and we get praised for it, and people look at towards us and they get so excited, and we have all the goods in the world, God. So with that, God, we cannot just let that blessing drop. We cannot just let that slide, but we have to break down the concepts. That was a recurring thing tonight, is that we just have to break down the concepts that we have and move together with you, celebrate together with you, and respond to True Mother's call as incredible, incredible children we are. So I thank each and every person for taking time out of their week to spend the most important hour they could possibly spend, God, connecting with your providence and connecting to your heart in this time. Thank you to Josue and Harumi and the organizations and groups that they represent, and for all that they are giving, God, and serving. I myself wish to inherit that so that I can also do that in my own life. So I thank you. I thank each person here again. God, we pray for True Mother, for her safety. We're lifting her up. We're proclaiming her name, and we're keeping her safe, God. So with our prayers and with our hearts. So I offer this prayer in all of our names, and in my name, Joshua Holmes, the son of McKay and Kyoko Holmes, Central Bliss family. Amen and Aju. Aju, thank you, everybody. Please have a wonderful prayer and a wonderful week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Ah, yeah.